Hey guys, welcome back. Matt here. So I wanted to do a follow-up video with how the tank did when I ran the snow melt, because that was the main reason why I added this storage tank to the boiler loop system here for the garage. So I made sure that this was already set up for about a half a day, so the water was flowing, everything was good. I had the garages off, the house was off, and so it was roughly the same scenario, but I did turn the house back on because I had the snow melt running for, I don't know, 12 to 8, 20 hours. I had the snow melt running for 20 hours straight. But anyways, so I did the same test that I did without this tank. So, but I kind of changed it a little bit. So with the tank full, obviously the boiler's running, so it's in a heat cycle. So in the last test I did without the tank, I started the snow melt at 180 degrees because it goes up to 185 and then shuts down. I started it at 177 this time because I knew with this tank it was going to make a huge difference, right? So now the snow melt before, when I turned it on 180. It got up to 182 without the tank. With the tank, I started at 177 and it went up to 183, and then it started to fall. So without the tank, when I had it go from 180 to 170, it took 29 minutes like I talked about before. With the tank, starting it at 177, dropped down to 170, it took an hour and 11 minutes. So I gained 41 more minutes of hotter temperature getting to the heat exchanger for the snow melt by just adding this tank. And to be honest with you, the snow melt got up the temp to the operating temp that it needs to be and shuts down and cycles and whatnot way quicker than it ever did. And I had it running for, like I just said, 20 hours straight. So because it started to snow at noon when I started it, and we already had 1.5 inches on the driveway, which I'll post the time lapse tomorrow so you can see it. It's going to be maybe a little long, but I'm going to speed it up as fast as I can so it's not a half-hour video. So yeah, no, so it operated as it should. It got up the temp, it cycled, and the boiler never got below, I want to say like 172, and it heated back up, because once that gets up to temp, it fluctuates. It pulls the hot water, I'd say. I think it runs for on average for 15. It's off. Well, it's not off, but it doesn't pull hot water for about 8 minutes, and it kind of goes back and forth. And it did that throughout the whole snowfall. And it came down pretty heavy. We got, I think, like 6 to 7 inches. It kept up. I shut it off around 7 a.m. and there was a little bit of snow left, as you'll see in the time lapse. The memory card got full. I must have not have deleted some videos, but it got full, I think, around like 6 a.m. And I ended up shutting it off at like 8 or 9, something like that. And obviously the slab holds heat and it melts the snow. So all in all, I'd say it's kind of what I thought it would have done. I wasn't expecting it to buffer the water, I guess you could say, for 41 more minutes. I thought it was only going to be like 10, maybe 15, but it actually did really well. And it is cold out too. It was, I think it got down into 15 degrees, so it's way colder than when it usually snows. So I was actually pretty impressed. But so yeah, all in all, for 400 bucks, it did what I thought. I think I'm going to, down the road, I don't know when, I'm going to add a few more. And I think that's going to make a huge difference. So the day that I let everything else run without the snow melt, I could definitely tell that the boiler ran a lot less. And every time I went out to check the wood, because I was unsure if this was going to put a bigger strain on it, it actually wasn't bad at all. I mean, there was more wood in there than what there should have been when I usually check it, because I kind of have an idea with the different kind of species of wood I put in there, how it's going to burn, how long I'm going to get. And it's been kind of cold. Like tonight it's getting down to like 1 degree, and then it's supposed to, Monday night, which is tomorrow, it's supposed to get down to like -10, -11 or something like that. So it's going to be real cold. So I'm curious to see how much wood I go through now just adding this guy. And like I said, I think I'm going to add a few more and loop them all together and then back out. So we'll see. I mean, I can only imagine if you added like 1,000 to 1,500 gallons. But all in all, the boiler is going to work harder to heat all this extra water, but it will stay dormant longer burn cycles. Now, will that affect when it's in idle mode? You know, I know there's a timer on it. You know, after an hour it reburns, for 5 minutes or 3 minutes, whatever you have it set at. Is the fire eventually going to go out now because it's idle for so long? That I don't know. That's gonna, future's only going to tell that. So we'll see. And like I said, I can always bypass this and have it go back out like normal. You know, say when it gets warmer out, I'm not melting the snow, it's idle for way too long, I can bypass it and go from there. Or if it, for some reason, the boiler just can't keep up, but surprisingly, how cold it is, the house is calling all the time because it's super cold. These both garages are calling. It does really good. Now, I haven't ran the snow melt with the garages on because I know for a fact that's going to be a huge pull on the water. So I'm hoping down the road, if I do add more, which I think it will, it'll keep up, but we'll see. So we'll see. But all in all, it was a success. My little brain here actually worked, so we'll see. I mean, we'll see what I do in the future. I think I'm going to add a couple more, but yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys think, if you think this was smart or not, but it's worked. I mean, it's did what I expected it to, and I know there's other boilers out there that hold a lot more water for those exact, requirements, but this is the one I settled on, and it's a gas fire, so it should be better on wood, which it is, compared to like a conventional. I know Heatmaster makes I think it's a C800 or something like that, which holds twice as much water, and it says the BTU output is twice as much as what this is, but I know I'd be going through a lot more water. It's roughly the same price, and I don't want to be puffing smoke all day either. I know it burns pretty clean, but not like this guy. So but yeah, no, all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. So I mean, down the road, if we do our addition and I do the whole drive, I'll just buy another one of these and I'll loop them together, whatever. Which I think I thought about that today. I'm like, man, do I really want to do that? But I might. I mean, I don't know. I might set them side by side, and I'll have two of them, and I'll only run it when I'm going to, run the snow melt. And I know I, for a fact, won't have any issue. So we'll see. But I think for now, I may add a couple more. But it's doing its job for what I have the demand for. But I know the snow melt system that I'm going to be adding down the road within a year or so, it's probably six times the size of what I got now. So I know it may work when I add these, because if my math is correct, how fast the water or how slow the water will deplete if I add more. I know I could have got a huge tank, but my thought process is, if this slows down the water going back to the boiler, this one's going to slow down twice as much, and so on if I add 3 to 4 to 5 more, which I might. Yeah, the boiler will be running probably a little bit longer, but the key is to get the snow melt up to temp, because once it's up to temp, it cycles, and then it's not pulling hard. You just got to get it there. Yeah, I could have bought an onboard boiler, electric or gas or propane or whatever, or solar, but I don't have those utilities out here. I mean, yeah, I got electric, obviously, but I want to get away from it. I'd rather just burn wood because I got it coming out my what. But yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys' thoughts are, comments, and if you know anybody else who's done this and what you think, But other than that, keep burning.